How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Mojo with Mike here. Today we're going to talk about celebrity pilots. More focus on NFL pilots. It's actually become a trending situation where you have more NFL players getting to fly airplanes, which to me is the most exciting thing about American football that I've seen in a long time. But also, as a pilot of color, this is pretty cool to see other men of color flying airplanes, especially that they're athletes, right? So what I wanted to discuss today actually is the news that's trending around where Jerry Jones, for those of you who don't know who Jerry Jones is, he is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He did not like the idea NFL players are flying airplanes. Is it okay? Let's just jump right into it. Is it okay for an owner or your employer to restrict you from learning how to fly or getting your pilot's license? Okay, whoever you are, whether you're an athlete or whatever industry that you're working in. So that's sort of been the discussion, like, is this actually okay? Or screw someone like Jerry Jones who looks down on players flying airplanes. Before we actually answer this question, I want to play judge and jury here and more so put ourselves in the shoes of both the owner and of the NFL player. So the NFL player in question here, his name is Brandin Cooks, and I actually know about another NFL player, Jonathan Jones, who also flies for leisure. These are active players, and so I think that's the key there, that they're active players. Think about it from an owner's standpoint, right? Let's play again judge and jury here. From an owner's standpoint, you're paying a lot of money to these players. Guess what? For anyone who is not a pilot or haven't even gotten a taste of flying, period, the general consensus is that flying airplanes, or more particularly flying GA airplanes, it's inherently dangerous. And I beg to differ. I think once you get into this field or you start flying, you might think differently. Yes, is it dangerous to fly an airplane? Of course, it can be, but I think the danger also relies on the training of the pilot who's flying the airplane, and also the aircraft. Hopefully, the maintenance is kept up to date. There are different factors that plays into how dangerous an airplane can be. A car is also inherently dangerous. As a matter of fact, there are more car crashes than there are airplane crashes, except with airplane crashes, unfortunately, they can be more fatal with each occurrence compared to, say, a motorcycle or a car crash. Matter of fact, I think worse accidents happen on two wheels or no wheels. Boats, motorcycles, to me, these are even more dangerous than flying airplanes. But that's just my opinion, and my opinion is, of course, biased. So let's answer the two questions. Is it okay for the owner to be like, no, you can't do this. You can't possibly fly airplane while you're getting paid or on my payroll? And also, this idea that airplane or piloting an airplane is a dangerous activity. Now, if we go back memory lane, Brandin Cooks and or Jonathan Jones, these are not the first athletes to fly airplanes. There's been several others before them. And unfortunately, though, there's also been some historical crashes with athletes flying airplanes. When I did my research, I couldn't help but see the fact that for a lot of these athletes, the airplane of choice is usually the Cirrus brand. If you look into most athletes or celebrity who is flying a GA airplane, chances are they opt for the Cirrus, and for several reasons, right? So let's talk about athletes for a minute and some of the challenges they would have to even consider flying an airplane. For one, the time commitment. As an active athlete, now I don't know the lifestyle, or I don't live the lifestyle of an athlete, but I imagine during actual football season or basketball season or whatever sport you play, you're generally busy in training camp or playing games, whatever have you. Chances are you don't have the time to dedicate to training and or keeping up with your flying skills to remain current and proficient. That's one. But something we may not also think about is athletes are generally larger people. Like, these are men who are bigger in weight and height and taller in height than the average person. And if you know anything about GA or single engine airplanes, is weight and balance is extremely important. And when you have really big dudes flying airplanes, I would even go as far as to say that you may have the average pilot may not fit comfortably in your average GA airplane, or say a light sport aircraft, for example. So those things are already working against them, where they're bigger than the average person. So I imagine they would have to find an airplane that actually fits their physical posture, right? And that's one of the reasons why I think athletes opt for the Cirrus brand, because it's bigger, larger cabin. It's also more luxurious. So, I mean, let's keep it real. If you're buying a Cirrus, the statement or the status of wealth also goes along with that brand. It's considered cream of the crop, your luxury brand of single engine airplane, so to speak. So I imagine this is also one of the reasons why celebrity and or athletes go that direction and choose a Cirrus instead of any other airplane in the market. Now that we've talked a bit about the players, let's get back to the owner. Okay, you have Jerry Jones, owner of an NFL team who doesn't want players flying an airplane. We've pointed out the fact that, okay, these men are making a ton of money. There's a lot that comes with playing in the NFL. Now, God forbid, NFL is also, American football is also considered one of the most dangerous sports in the world. You could literally die also playing football, but of course, that's not as dangerous as flying an airplane. So is it okay, or is it right for just one person or your employer to be like, hey, we can't allow you to do that because I think it's dangerous, and you could literally screw up my money if you go flying with your buddies. So I think from that standpoint, he might have a point. I mean, if we're just talking logic and money here, if I have millions of dollars invested in a player, of course, I don't want to put them add in things that could possibly hurt them physically or put them away for a long time where they're not able to perform or be active on the field. Okay, and we've already listed the fact that as an athlete, the time commitment it would take to be current and or proficient flying an airplane may not be available to you. So in that way, we give Jerry Jones that. But then on the flip side, it's also a free country. And I understand, again, from employee standpoint, there might be some rules set in place, but also you should be free to pursue any activity and or hobby in America, right? It's a free country. But I imagine it would probably be better once you retire or you're a non-active player, right? For your sake, for the sake of your family, for your safety also. I think it's probably better that you fly when you're not generally active, because again, seasons where you have to be on the field, you have to be on training camp. For pilots, assuming that you plan to do this for a long time, it's better that you fly more often than none, because again, pilotage is a perishable skill. When you take time off, it's not like a car where you take time off and you jump back in the car and you just drive. An airplane or flying doesn't work like that. There's a lot of things that you could easily forget when you take time off. So from a safety standpoint, I think the players can be more cautious, but I personally think that it's better once you retire and or you're no longer active, or you don't have to go to training camp or play football all year or half of the year. I think it's important to consider those things, right, from a player standpoint. But ultimately also do whatever you want. If you've got the money, you've got the time, and you're approaching this with safety in mind, then you should be able to do whatever you want. Again, my opinion is also biased. I'm an aviator, so I want more people in the cockpit. And frankly, I think folks like Jerry Jones will have more coming their way, because this is all it takes. You only need a few people to start doing this new thing, and what you'll probably see is more athletes following suit. The fact is, when it comes to GA or flying GA airplanes, you have to have a little bit of change. NFL players can afford flight training. They can afford to purchase their own airplane or rent an airplane. So what you likely see, and this is just my opinion, what you likely see is more NFL players getting on this train to fly. And more than likely, Cirrus is going to be making a ton of money. Okay, so that's my spiel for today, but I'm curious what you think. What is your take? Should an employer, or in this case, owner of an NFL team, is it okay for them to be like, have a hard stop or hard no to the players or their employee not to be able to fly or learn how to fly. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Mike. Give this video a thumbs up. I'm still laughing because I just read about this and I'm probably gonna read more. Anyway, I'll catch you all on the next video. Peace.